Greetings, Jelly Spoons, and welcome to another episode of Monday Madness, the Monday show where I talk about anything and everything. And they are few and far between this year because I'm working on a few very specific projects. I've got 2 books I'm working on, a couple of podcasts that I'm finishing scripting, and I've got 2 very big costume builds this year. Well, one sort of medium costume build, and the other one is my ongoing Mollymauk cosplay for my brand new version of Molly, which is taking a lot of embroidery and details, and I'm loving every minute of it, but it is a very big build, and I'm hoping to have it done by October Comic Con. Anyway, so today's video is going to be a sort of whimsical and wild look back on the history of me, because as you can see from where I am standing, I am going to be getting all of my costumes out, and I'm going to be putting them onto a mannequin. I'm going to be taking pictures and videos of them, partly because I want a record and document of what I have got, and also because I just want to look back over my cosplay journey, and I thought it might be quite fun to post it so you guys can see, and also so that anyone who is in my position where you've maybe been in cosplay for a little while, you've started your sewing journey but you're not quite as good as you want to be yet, or even people who are quite near the start, because that's a frustrating time. I remember that. I still feel frustrated by my lack of ability now. So if you are at the beginning of your cosplay journey, watch this video and learn that it does not matter when you start, it doesn't matter how good or bad you are, you will get better, it's amazing, and you just do it for the fun of it. If you are no longer doing it for the fun of it, if it's just not bringing you joy, then put it down for a bit, have a walk, go do something else, take a year off, take whatever time you need, only come back to it when it's fun. It is not worth it if it is not fun. I have pushed through with costumes before that I have almost regretted making in the end because they didn't bring me enough joy when it was done, because the process for whatever reason just sapped me of energy, or I just lost enthusiasm or something. So do not force yourself to finish a project if it's not bringing you joy, but also if you really want to finish something, then do work hard to finish it, which sounds like contradictory advice, but essentially if you need a break, take it. It's more worth it to have a little break, to find the joy again, and to do something that you love, because doing it while you don't love it is just not fun. Also, something I've decided to do with this video is I am going to be getting rid of some of my costumes. I am downsizing, I am moving again, I'm very excited, but I'm trying to get rid of some stuff. I've got a lot of fabric I'm going to try and get rid of. It's basically going to be me in a house with a bunch of Peter Pan books and a few costumes and some sketchbook. It's going to be amazing. So if you see an orange sticker on the screen, that means that the costume is going to be gotten rid of, or it could be got rid of, or it's going to be turned into parts, that kind of thing. So if you see it in the corner, if you see an orange sticker and you would like that costume, message me somehow on Instagram or put it in the comment sections or on Discord or whatever, and I will get the costume to you. If you're in the UK, I can probably get it to you somehow, but if you're abroad from the UK, just if you can pay postage, that'll be grand. So if you would like it, then by all means message me and we will get that costume to you. I'll put an orange sticker for costumes I'm going to possibly get rid of, and a purple sticker for ones I'm definitely not ever getting rid of, ever. But do bear in mind, if you want these costumes, they were sized to fit me, and they were made while I was on my costuming journey, so they will not be finished properly, they will not be completely perfect, and by all means you can edit them if you do want them. If no one wants them, that's fine as well. I will just turn them into textile parts and that'll be fine. I might keep some of them as well, actually, if they fold really small. But I just thought, while I was filming this, if I put the option out there, then if someone does see something they would like, or a piece that they would like to turn into something else, I would love that. I would love it if they could be useful to somebody, or someone else could give them some love. So let me know in the comments, or send me a DM if you don't want to be in the comments, if you would like any of the stuff. Alright, in the meantime, let's get on with a walk through the history of Morku's cosplay journey. Alright, I feel like it's going to get quite emotional, maybe. Nah, it's going to be fine. Let's do it. This is one of the first costumes I made. I remember making this because it was my first time making anything. My first ever hoodie, my first time using fabric paint, and some of this isn't fabric paint, some of it's real paint because I ran out of fabric paint. It was my first time, I think, doing these, and I had to punch them in with a hammer because I didn't have the equipment to just stamp one in yet. So it was my first time doing those, my first time threading this through a hoodie, and it turned out okay. It was one of my first times properly trying to match to the costume that was on the screen. So it was one of the first times I was really going into the details instead of just doing my own thing. I did end up doing my own thing a little bit with it, but in general, I think my Jack Frost was okay. I quite enjoyed playing him, actually. This was quite fun. So I've still got the wig. I use it for other cosplays sometimes. But this boy has not come out of the cupboard in a long time. So here he is, having a little outing. And here is another piece of Morku cosplay history. So this was one of the first ever cosplays I made that wasn't a Mollymauk, and this was very early on. Again, can you tell? Can you tell this was very early on in my cosplay journey? Can you tell that I had no idea of technique yet? Can you tell that I had no practice yet? Can you tell that I just went with whatever I had at the time because it was cheap? And can you tell that I was just trying my absolute best? Look at these beautiful bits of embroidery. I was trying so hard. So this is Ethari from the Dragon Prince, and this was just season 1. We didn't know anything else that was happening, and oh my god, I'm so happy it's come to a conclusion. Oh my god, Ethari and Runan just had my heart for so long. Anyway, so I tried to match the embroideries. I tried to do some dip dyeing. That was exciting. I added toppers to the boots. I made all this embroidery going all the way around the edges. I tried to match it so it looked just like it did on the show, and I was looking at all these pictures all the time. And also I made... We cannot talk about my Dragon Prince cosplay without talking about the Lotus that I made. So this was made from wire and some metal tape, and it's held up quite well. It has been years, and I think it looks really beautiful. I've used it for some pictures and things, and it still just sits on the side of my cosplay room, aka my bedroom, and I just think it looks very, very pretty for what it is, for how quickly I had to make it and all the improvisation I had to do. So this is my Ethari. I will probably never get back into him again, to be honest, because 1, doesn't really fit me anymore, 2, because I would love to just redo it and make it better, and I don't have time to do that right now, and 3, I feel like Ethari sort of run his course for me a little bit. I loved him very much. I loved Runan. If I was going to dress up again, I would be Runan. I made it. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it, but now on to other things. So for now, Ethari. This was another cosplay that was fairly early on. I feel like I did this in my 12 months of cosplay, something like that. So this is Hector from Castlevania. Love Hector. Absolutely love him. I sort of vaguely relate to him, but also he is nothing like me. I just really enjoyed his character. I love him in Lenore. My friend Kat cosplayed Lenore. We had an amazing time. We cosplayed this together. It was absolutely brilliant. And he is not perfect. The shirt I made from scratch, I'm very proud of that. It's not completely finished, but that's fine. This sort of tunic-y, jackety thing was made out of an old tailcoat that I got gifted and wasn't using, so it had the big broad shoulders. I changed the collar around, I cut bits off and added it to it, so ultimately, then with a little bit of ribbon and some fabric paint, I still wasn't quite good at doing all the hemming and stuff yet. You can tell this was still back a day when I didn't have my sewing machine and hadn't taken any courses, hadn't got much skills yet, but for what it is, it looks like the character. I had a really good time. It was really fun to make. I don't know if I'll ever wear it again, and my shoulders have broadened out a little bit since I've been working out and stuff, so I don't know if it'll actually fit me anymore. But it was really fun to make, and yeah, I still love it. I still love it. I love Hector. I still love him, so here it is, Hector. Zydrate comes in a little glass vial. This was another very early on cosplay when I was first getting into the habit of not just cosplaying Mollymauk, and this was Graverobber from Repo the Genetic Opera. This was my first time working with fluff. It was incredibly challenging because it went everywhere, but it was great fun. I also made a little necktie by just getting some wool and threading it together and making a sort of little necktie here. That was quite fun. The rest of it was basically a shirt and jeans. I did make a little Zydrate gun out of a tattoo gun that I had at the time. That was quite fun. And then it's just this big fluffy coat that I stitched together. Most of the characters I enjoy tend to wear big coats or tunics or just something like long and flowing, so I think that says something about me. And as you go around to the back, you can see that I've done the little detail of the belt piece, and again it opens up so it swooshes around. So for a first time making a coat that wasn't Molly, I think it went pretty okay, to be honest. I remember the fluff. I remember really enjoying getting into this character. I've got back into this cosplay a few times over the years. People tend to vote for it when I put votes up on my channel of who would you like to see again. Graverobber tends to get quite a lot of traction, so I don't think I'm going to chuck him away. I might fix him one day, because this is definitely not my finest work. But all of this was done by hand, without a sewing machine, without a pattern, just lots of guesswork and guessing, and for that I am proud of myself. So, Graverobber, here he is. This is one of my villain cosplays, and as you can see, it's a very long coat, lots of sparkles. So this was inspired by the Darkling from the Shadow and Bone Netflix series. And this was one of the first like long coats I made other than Molly, and it's got all this like sparkly net lace that I added on. It's got the big collar,
sort of sticks up at the top over here, and the lace goes all over the back. It goes down the sleeves as well, and it's got other little bits of lace too. And then as you come around the back, yeah, here we go. So I took this piece of fake leather and I made this sort of spine detail, this little bit of bone, so you can see it underneath all this sparkly lace. This was inspired by the TV show's costume as well, and it's got this open flap so that it can flap around as you walk as well, because it's got to be a flappy coat. And the spinal detail and the sort of detaily, ribby, bony, creepy, sparkly bits carries on all the way down to the bottom. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it reminds me a little bit now of the Frankenstein coat that I absolutely love from the Del Toro film, with the spine sticking out the back. So maybe it was always destined that I was going to enjoy big spine coats. So yeah, here he is, the Darkling. Make me your villain. And it's also got, along with the coat, I made him an inside piece. And this is a jacket that I've worn for various other cosplays, including Kingsley at one point, before I made the official canon one when the new art came out. So this is just a sort of jerkin slip that's made of some old spare fabric I had, and then pieces of fake leather on the front, and then all these clasps, which I hand sewed on, which was painful. So yep, here is the Darkling. I'll probably never wear him again, and at some point I'll probably have to do something with this costume. So yeah, he's just sitting here for now, but I do love him very much. This is another fairly early on cosplay. I think I might have done this during my 12 months of cosplay, where every month I made a brand new one. Again, can you tell this was made in lockdown? So this was, again, before I had my sewing machine, so this is a big long coat. This is Death from Elizabeth the Musical. I made this before I had my sewing machine. This is all hand sewn, and a lot of improvisation because I did not have a lot of money. Still don't. There is a lot of tassels on this, you sense a theme. Lots of long, cool bits of tasseling. The front opens up. Let me show you. So the front opens up like a bit of a jacket, so I often wear it just open, and it's got sort of a soft velvety soft inside. It's also got all these little bits of studs. It's got loads of different bits of lace. I think it's the same lace I used to do the Darkling's coat actually. And then it's got a softer fabric, so it's half and half split on the other side. Now this is partly inspired by the Japanese cast because their costumes were just the costumes I liked the best, but it's also loosely inspired by the Austrian, the German casts as well. Now as you go around the corner, this is the bit I was most proud of at the time, but right now I would redo it very, very different. So this is my hot glue skeleton sleeve. Now visually it looks very cool, especially from a distance. It does the job. Right now I would build it out of something different. I would build it out of a lightweight foam, and then I would attach it into the sleeve, or I would build it up through layers of clay, something like that. Maybe using glue for the top bit, I'm not quite sure. It looks lovely. I love the effect that it's done. I was very proud of myself at the time, but if I was going to redo it, I would do it a different way. Ultimately, big long swooshy coat. Really enjoyed wearing it. I did a shoot in it more recently as well, but ultimately he has been retired, and if I ever do him again, I will probably remake the costume a little bit. But here he is, Death. And here we have one of my more recent ones. This was from last year, I think, so 2025. This is one of my more recent versions of Hermes. So heavily inspired by Epic the Musical, and obviously very heavily inspired by, oh, I don't know, maybe the person who plays him, maybe? So it's green, it is fluffy, it is made out of an old throw rug, and it was just delightful to work on. It shedded just a little bit, but it was also so cozy, and I love the big poofy sleeves, and I was going to add secret pockets, but I ran out of time, so this is just delightful. Another Critical Role cosplay, and this was level 1 or whatever, the beginning I think of Ashton. So this was his first thing. I made this jacket out of bits and scraps that I had lying around, and I felt that was very Ashton, so it wasn't just one complete piece, it was all just scraps and bits and pieces. I embroidered just don't on the back, really enjoyed that. Loved all this extra stuff I got to do, so it's very punk rock. I really enjoyed this. I gave him tartan trousers. I can't remember if that's canon or not. I know that he has like red, but I remember bringing all the tartan up and just thinking, yeah, this needs to be so much more punk rock. So I added all these extra bits. I took apart a belt so I could make this for the neck piece. I added all these studs, made these. If I could go back in time, I'd make them doubly thick because these are very flimsy. But in general, and making the hammer was so much fun. In general, embroidering this as well. Perfection. Look at that. So all in all, this was hilarious fun. I really enjoyed doing this. I don't think I'll ever really wear it again. So if anyone who sees this video wants a fairly simple Ashton, then I have one. Alright, so I love it. I love Ashton, but I don't think I'll ever wear him again. Can't believe I nearly forgot possibly the most important piece of Ashton. So this was a fantastic build. I loved doing this. This was his headpiece, his like crystal skull headpiece that I made out of just hope and a prayer. This was some hot glue and some sort of multicolored plastic and bits of paper that I used to make his brain, and then I used a stretchy swim cap which I attached endless amounts of hot glue sticks to, and I painted some of them purple and some of them were purple already because I hadn't worked with foam before. I didn't know how to completely make it work, and this felt slightly more natural and fun, so this I made. So yeah, Ashton. This one is very, very special. I absolutely love this one. This is a costume I have wanted to make for years. I mean, since the first time I saw this film. So, as some of you all know, some of the content I started doing on this channel and then switched over to its very own channel is all about Peter Pan and the lore and the world of Neverland and the history of things like that. And one of the films that I absolutely adore is called Finding Neverland. And this is a replica that I made of the Peter Pan costume that they used in that. The Peter Pan in that was played by Kelly MacDonald, I think, and there are next to no pictures. One of my favourite things about this costume is that I made it based on some very blurry screenshots, maybe one behind the scenes picture, and that was it. Because the costume designer, whose name I will insert somewhere on the screen, is well known and has done loads of stuff, but whenever people look up things about Finding Neverland, they always seem to look up the photos of the beautiful things that Sylvia wore, and the gowns and the nighties and all this, and the Peter Pan costume is completely forgotten. I have never been able to find pictures of it. I would love to. If someone can help me to track down wherever this costume might be and just look at it, that would be insane. So this is my replica based on freeze framing the movie while I was watching it, taking screenshots and things like this. So it's got this beautiful lace underneath. It's very inspired by the original stage costumes. You can see it's in the sort of burnt amber reddish colours, the autumnal colours. It's got the laces going down the sleeves to the shirt underneath. It's got the leaves cascading in gold going all the way down the front. It's got the little acorn button gold bits on the middle. It's got the leaves on the little buckle. It's got the hidden zip down the centre. It's got more leaves and gold cascading over the shoulder, more laces down the sleeves, and then as you go round to the back, you can see more leaves cascading down there as well. So it's not completely like the original stage designs. It was inspired by it, and I absolutely love it. This was also one of my first times working with a fully stretchy fabric. It's not elastine completely, it's just got a little bit of stretch, so that was really exciting. This one definitely looks better on the mannequin and on me. When it's hanging up, it doesn't look quite so good because all the stretch sort of is loose. But this is stunning. I will never get rid of it. This is another Peter Pan costume. I made this one based roughly off some of the original stage directions with a little bits of patchworking and also a little bit of some of the Disney parks as well. I love the cascading leaves over the shoulder, so I kept that from the original stage designs. The green I've gone into because I wore this one for a lot of commissions. I wore this for a lot of events when I was invited to go as Peter, when I did a lot of like birthday parties or events and things like this. So this is why it's inspired by the green, so that it looks roughly similar to the ones that people are probably expecting, but I added in details as well. So I've added all these little sort of like vine sweeps and the really big stitching, so you can see all the little bits added and the little bits of leaves as well that I cut out in loads of different bits of fabric. I also added the little floofy little sleeves and then more stitching down the back, again in different colours, so the stitching is all different, so it's all sort of vaguely asymmetrical, and you can see all the different bits of stitching. So there's orange on the greens, and then there's brown on the greens as well, and there's a little bit of yellow as well, and of course the whole thing's pretty covered in glitter too. And then it's got a very simple sort of swooshy sort of leaf shaped back, and then I'd usually wear it with some sort of leaf coloured and patterned leggings underneath as well. So this is one of the Peter Pan costumes, and it's very cozy and very easy to wear, and I love this one. We are back with another one of my Peter Pan costumes. This one is very Disney inspired, as in Disney parks, because I love the massive shoulder leaves that they did, and I really wanted to make one that I could wear for commissions and for videos. This was used a lot during lockdown because I was doing commissions, so for about 10-15 quid people were commissioning me to do videos of Peter Pan in character, giving them or their friends or their kids encouraging words, wishing them happy birthday, special occasions, that kind of thing. So this was a Peter Pan outfit I usually wore for those. Got the big collar, a little bit inspired by the stage play as well. You've also got the sort of bits and pieces of colours with the different shades of green, the really big stitching that I love, and I really love finishing this. So these days I would do this with an overlocker if I had an overlocker machine, but I do not have one, and so this all had to be done by hand. I think it's worth it because the stitching looks really lovely and it looks very well finished, and then you pair it with the massive stitching over the top, so from a distance you can't really see, but it just does add a little bit to it. I have done the leaf shape so it flaps around as you were running. I wore this to a convention once where they asked me to come and appear as Peter Pan, and all of these flapping as you run was really fun. And then you've got the big stitching up here, and you've got the massive leaves still very covered in glitter, and then round at the back, let me just twist it. Here we go. So we've got the big leaves again, and you've got the stitching going down the back as well. So again, all these sort of leafy, like traily, flowy things that could flip, and they go all the way up. So I'd be wearing things underneath that were sort of green leafy coloured as well, but the slits go all the way up, so they do flap quite a lot as you're running. And then yeah, the big leaves. So again, similar to the original stage play designs, but also very Disney inspired. Very recognisable immediately from a distance. Even though it doesn't look like the Disney film, it definitely looks like the Disney parks. So really love this one as well. This one is another very important one. I did a whole video about making this. So this is inspired by the original stage designs of the Peter Pan costume. So you've got the split burnt orange and the amber red. Now this will have been done in sort of leather and suede. I obviously don't work with leather, so I have been using suede bits for this. I also made this replica of Jean Forbes Robertson's belt, which I absolutely love. I desperately wanted to make this because of the amazing work that she did as Peter, and also because this belt is in museums. It got passed on to another Peter, who then put it into the museum. I got to go and see it. I have touched this belt in real life. It was a very magical moment, and I also remember making this little acorn button, which I popped on as well. So all of these leaves that go down the sides, you've got the crisscross lace-up sleeves too, and then onto the back. I did mine a little bit differently, so I made the basic shape, but on the original ones it will have come up into bits of a hood and been almost a separate piece, but I attached mine through just so I could make it as part of the costume. I also added lace net sleeves on, but they've come off over the years because they were very delicate. So this is what's left of the costume. I still really love it. It's still very important, and at some point I might go back and just add a few more details to it, but in general you can see where the original stage design came into it. It's as close as I could get to a replica while adding a few of my own elements as well, and of course this belt to honour Jean Forbes Robertson. We are on yet another Peter Pan costume, and this one is a little bit different because it isn't completely finished. I just did the top half, and this is part of my Peter Pan lore video series where I talked about 120 years of Peter Pan costumes, and this one is one of my favourites because it's a attempted replica of this one, which was worn by Anita Harris. Now I managed to get hold of this picture. I managed to find vague references online, but there weren't very many, and you can see all the leaves over the shoulder, and it's just very glittery, very sparkly, lots of long bits, and this is what I created and came up with. I'm pretty happy with it, and if you have a look at it going around the back, all the sparkles, it just carries on, and it's very glittery. The sleeves, they go on for ages and ages, and I use this when I'm filming Peter Pan content sometimes. So Anita Harris's Peter Pan costume, that is this one. Very happy with this one. We are slowly getting towards the end of the Peter Pan collection now. So this one was one I made before the Cozy one, but after the Disney one. So I was incorporating bits and pieces of the Disney parks and bits and pieces of the original stage design. So you can see the big crisscrossing, you can see the cascading leaves, you can see the big leaves over the shoulders, you can see the cute little acorn button that pops off, and you can see the leafy detail at the bottom where it's all crinkly, and the stripes of different shades of green and different colours. Now this carries on all the way around the back. I also added a bunch of gems, not too many. There's also a bunch of glitter too, and again I was experimenting with hot glue and 3D paint, so I've put little sequins on. There's little gems in various places, so it's a little bit sparkly, a little bit fey-like, some hidden ones in here, and it's very glittery, very sparkly, very special. But ultimately it's one of the ones that I used for commissions, and I went to a few conventions when I was being asked to be Peter and stuff like this. But ultimately I don't use it as much anymore because I upgraded it when I made the other ones, but I still absolutely love it, and it was a big stepping stone in my designs of the Peter Pan costumes. We haven't quite got off the Peter Pan train yet, but I promise you one day we will. So this is an older costume, once again inspired by stage costumes. This was inspired by Maude Adams, who actually designed her own Peter Pan costume. This was a different direction to the classic tunics in the red and autumnal colours, and and this was a sort of more bluey, greeny, turquoisey tunic, and this had all the different other colours while still having the leaves and the cascading and the patterns and things. Now, this one I made using some leafy fabric from a bedsheet. In the actual costume, it had like embroidered leaves and bits and pieces and sort of patchworky things. Very, very beautiful, but this was a very, very quick replica that I was making, and I quite like it because it's very simple, it's very easy, it fits, it's very baggy and comfortable, and you can bend and move and swoosh around in it, and I painstakingly cut the edges and they look sort of leafy and all over the place and jumbled, so I really like this one too. Now, this Peter Pan costume, a few of you might recognise if you watched my behind the scenes making of and then my little mini Never Never movie project. I did a tiny little video. This was just at the end of lockdown. I wanted to do something, so I made a video and a bunch of people collaborated with me to do voices and to do singing, and it was just this really sweet little sort of 15-minute mini movie about Peter Pan. So this is the costume that I made to go with it. This is the costume I wore for Peter. It is a combination of all the things that I love from the other costumes. So you've got the big cascading leaves going down the side, you've got endless amounts of glitter, you've got the sweet little acorn buttons that I love, you've got these huge big sleeves that were sort of inspired by the Disney parks and other various forms of Peter over the years. You've got the little red sleeves with the crisscrosses, you've got the autumnal colours, you've got the tree sap, you've got the cobwebs, you've got moss, you've got vines, you've got all these different shades and shapes and colours. I absolutely love this costume so very much. And here we are with a Peter Pan costume that is inspired by the original designs for the stage costume. Hear me out. So this is one of the designs for how Peter could have looked. It's not exactly how he ended up being on the stage, but I decided to replicate it because I really liked it. One, loved it in different tassels everywhere, loving this, especially having seen The Devil Wears Prada 2 and Miranda's tassel jacket. I'm obsessed, I want it. So there's different coloured tassels everywhere. I painstakingly tried to colour match, a little splash of green down the front as well, and the outfit itself was sort of yellowy, sort of a yellowy, sort of autumny yellowy colour, which I absolutely love. We've also got all this tasseling going down the back as well, as opposed to these colourful tassels. This was a part of the fabric, and then this tail, which is described as making Peter look a bit bird-like, and this may be a callback to the little white bird, which explains his origin story, and I absolutely love that, so I incorporated that on the back. So have a little look from the side, it does sort of look like he's got like a bird tail going on with all these tassels and all these beautiful different colours. So I very much enjoy this. It's a shame it never really got to see the light of day on stage, but I love the way that the costume was developed, and over time I love what it turned into. This one has so many good memories. They've all got pretty good memories, to be honest. So this is part of my Gollum costume. So this is the main part. Everything else was just sort of scraps of material, but this is the main body. I've used it for other things, but this is my take on Gollum from The Lord of the Rings, the musical, on stage. And I looked at so many videos, and this was inspired by that little piece of the outfit. I have little bits attached to it. I made moss. So I cut up a bunch of embroidery thread that I had in various shades of green and grey, and then I glued them together in little patches, and I put some little strands on there as well. And that's how we've got this sort of mossy effect. So if you do not have the money to go out and buy moss or buy things to make it, then do not fear, you can make it yourself. That is one of the big things I learned through a lot of my cosplay journey, and also just this costume in particular, was do it yourself. You do not have to buy the thing, you can make it yourself. And this is the sort of skeletal rib cagey bit, and then this bit of black was stretchy fabric I attached onto the bottom with some more moss. And then when I was wearing it to make this music video where I did the Gollum song from the Lord of the Rings musical, I loved that because all the black sort of slowly disappeared and he looked really skeletal, and I did this really fun makeup on my face, and I did 2 different settings. So I had the sort of red lights on when I was being evil Gollum, and I had the sort of greener grayer lights, and then I had different camera angles. It was just so fun. So yeah, really great memories for this. I'm never going to get rid of this. I've used it a few times as well. I used it in my Tale of the Shadow music video when I was being the sirens, I think, and I've used it for some other scary things as well. So this is the base for a lot of stuff. I think I even used it as part of the base for my Prophet in my Epic music video. So yeah, look out for this. It will appear all over the place. We return with a fluffy monstrosity. So this was my take on Lucien. It was inspired by some fashion designs that had this sort of half design where it was literally just half a jacket, very princely, very royal looking. And of course we had to have the fluffy hood because that was canonically a thing that he had, with a little fluffy hood. So I had that. I made it big enough so I could fit my horns underneath it, and then I've got a half cloak over there. I had various different pieces of tunic and of waistcoats and things underneath, but this was the main part that I made. And it's like a sort of half regal tunic with these little studs going around the edges, and then the little collar and the fluffy hood. So this is Lucien. And this is my AngelDust. So I did a very quick AngelDust out of bits of fabric that I had lying around, but this is the full thing. I did a beautiful, this is a made AngelDust jacket, made it all by myself, and I did it out of pink tartan because I just thought it was so fun. I painted the stripes on it. I added all these little, can you see them? I added all these fake lipstick kisses. I painted those on painstakingly to look like kisses. I thought that was just so much fun. Everything's very glittery, and I added spiderweb details. So look at this. So this is the spiderweb that goes over the right hand shoulder, and I love it. I added beading to it. It goes down the back. Let me show you. It goes all the way down the back and across. I actually extended it a little bit because I wanted it to stand out a little bit more. And you've got the little glittery heart and some more kiss shapes. And then on the other side, so this is the other little spider web, and it's coming out and it's all beaded and embroidered. I loved these. I thought it was just such a beautiful detail. I really enjoyed it. And there are two of the kiss marks again up there. So Angel, I don't know if I'll ever get back into him again. I'm not sure. He's really complicated to wear with all the extra arms and everything, but it was great fun to make. I really do love him, and I'm very excited for the next season of Has Been Hotel. Here he is. Now, I did have another Raistlin Majer, but I got rid of that for fabric parts, so this is the current one. This is my current Raistlin Majer from the musical Poslední Zpětání. This design is inspired by a lot of different versions, so I've sort of cobbled them all together into what I really like. I love having the red and the black, so I love having the red sort of hems and seams. I've also sprayed it with some red going up the side. You can see it in person, but not so much on the camera. I've written also lyrics from the show everywhere. So it's got lyrics on the inside. It says Poslední Zpětání, that's the name of the show. It's got lyrics on the inside of the hood as well, the outside of the hood as well. So it goes all the way through and round and all the way outside as well. And then to divide them up, I've done the little symbols like this that look a bit like an hourglass, because that's very important, because Raistlin has hourglass eyes. And then you've got more lyrics going all the way around the side of the sleeves, and I've got the double sleeves and the little red hem, and then it goes down to these red bits and more rivets. Love a bit of rivets. And then this is his name on the back, Raistlin Majer. This musical is the entire reason I've started learning Russian. It is completely useless to me because obviously the world being the way it is, I have no use for it other than to listen to Russian music and musicals. So I've been enjoying that, and this was just a little outlet for that, of a character that I really love, really enjoy, and I got to make this fabulous outfit for him to swoosh around in. I also made the staff, which was made from a curtain rod, and that's somewhere, but I think it's in storage right now. So this is the Raistlin Majer costume, and I freaking love it. Slightly different colour this time. So this was originally made to be my white Raistlin tunic. So at some point during the Poslední Zpětání show, the Raistlin outfit goes white and he wears a sort of white mage outfit instead. And I made this so that when I was doing my music video for the musical, I could have a white Raistlin as well. I have since used it for other things. So this lovely white hood, big robe that I made, that has been used for other things. I think I used it for my Prophet for Epic the Musical. And this tunic I made underneath, I used that for Odysseus and various other characters. So a lovely little tunic, and I just love making hooded robes. It's just my thing. Since Molly, it's been a thing. Now, here is a cosplay that I don't regret doing, but that is a real look into... I guess I learned that I want to look into characters a lot more and create much more of a love for them before I start committing loads of time to cosplaying them. Because this took me a couple of weeks. This was in between work and stuff, so it wasn't solid work for a couple of weeks. I learned a lot of different techniques. I love learning how to do vinyl printing and cutting out shapes, and I loved making yet another long coat. Now, this is for Milo, who's from a game which is Monster Prom, Monster Road Trip, Monster Insert, all the other things. Now, I really love this character, thought they were really fun, loved their concept, really wanted to cosplay them. But after working on this for a couple of weeks, I filmed a few TikToks and ended up not doing anything with it. I enjoyed playing the character, but partly because the makeup didn't quite come out how I wanted it to, I don't know, it lost a bit of the spark for me. So I've still got this cosplay, but I don't know if I'll ever go back into it again. And while I do enjoy Milo, I just, like, I could live without this cosplay. I don't regret it. It wasn't a huge waste of money or anything, because I have no money, so I didn't spend a lot. It was great fun to learn how to make. I love doing all these bits. I love making the sleeves. I mean, to be honest, I could wear it as like a robe. It was also one of the first full pairs of pants that I have made. Full pairs of trousers. Not completely perfect, but they fitted me and they stayed up all day. That was great. And I made a little shirt and everything. I did some cute little designs on the side of that. And I got to wear this fabulous robe with a fabulous hood. What is it with me with hooded robes? So it was fun to make. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that I did. But the reason you haven't really seen any content of it is because I don't know, I lost a bit of the spark. This is another one of my Les Brotherston ones that I absolutely love. So this is a Matthew Bond New Adventures production of Sleeping Beauty. And this was done so beautifully. I love it so very much. I bought the DVD. I've seen it a bunch of times. It's amazing. So this is Count Lilac, who is the chief fairy essentially, but also vampire. And so he's got these cool fabulous little wings, he's got this awesome little neck piece, he's got all this detailing. I loved making this waistcoat and this beautiful outfit that trails down into these layers of sort of tassels that twirl as they dance around. Now this was exciting because I got some sort of a light bluey purpley version of an oil spill for a colour, and this was the base for my jacket. But then I decided it was a bit too pink, so I put a blue mesh over the top to make it a bit more purple, and then I used black fabric paint and I sprayed it over it because during the show he gets a bit more dishevelled, and so I'm basing this on the last look where he looks just a little bit more dishevelled. So you can see all the little splashes over here, and you can see where it's got a little bit darker and it's sort of got a little bit ombre like up the sleeves, and I loved this. This was so much fun to do. I love this so much. This, again, is one of my more recent cosplays, so this was my take on Vaxildan. So I embroidered around these bits of foam so that they would stand out a little bit and did all these shapes. So I've made sort of feathery leaf shapes. I added extra leafy, raveny, feathery things to the belt, and then I made it into part of the tunic. I have these long tassely bits on the sleeves. I've got this sort of half cloak going on. I added all of these little sort of bird skull shapes down all the little side angles, and I've done all this rivety bits all the way down the front. And there's a cape that goes with it and everything, but this is the general Vaxildan. Much as I love Vaxildan, I don't really cosplay him too much. He's a character I enjoy watching as opposed to playing, I think. One of my favourite things about my old and first real version of the Molly coat is this beautiful fabric I found for the hood. So this was part of, I think, a top I found in a charity shop. It was like an extra large. So I cut it up and I used the fabric to make the hood, but there wasn't enough to do the full lining, so I had to use different fabric for the lining. Absolutely loved it. This hood was so fun. I even had enough to do a little like lining over the front so you could see it. Now this coat has what my new one's going to have as well, which is a nod to so many different characters and references from Critical Role. So on the hood it says, how do you want to do this? And it's got Grog's face paint design on the hood as well. And then let's have a look, what else can we find? So we've got Molly, obviously, we've got Percy over here, we've got Jester, we've got buttons for Not, we've got daggers for Vax, we've got fire for Caleb, we've got water for Ford, we've got arrows for Vex, so the twins are next to each other, we've got the sun and the moon, we've got a fish for Keyleth, and we've also got leaves for Keyleth as well. On the back we've got storm clouds for Yasha, we've also got the massive Critical Role symbol, we've got music for Scanlan, we've got the big tree, we've got Jenga and 9, we've got mushrooms for Caduceus, so everyone's in there, everyone's all in there. Here it is, here is the brand new one. So as you can see, I've taken some elements from the old one. So one of the things I'm doing on this is I'm including lots of references to the Mighty Nine. So we've got the storm for Yasha, we've got the big Critical Role symbol as well. I'm also including eyes of 9. So there are going to be 9 embroidered red eyes. I'm also very proud of my Fletching and Moondrop Traveling Carnival of Curiosities. I love this embroidery. It took me so long. I remember being so proud of this F, but also this G. Can we just take a minute? Can we just take a minute to admire this G? Thank you very much. And the P. Goodness me, it's amazing. I've also done this little peacock feather, and I've started with some of the other bits. So, much like on this one, I had references. So this has references to the Vox Machina and the Mighty Nine. So we've got arrows for Vex, and we've got the water for Ford, which is also Laura and Travis next to each other. On the opposite side, we've got the flames for Caleb. So this was, I think, the first bit that I did. I think the first thing I did was embroider the flames, or maybe it was the water. I don't remember. So, flames for Caleb going up into Vax's daggers. And the daggers are going to come down the back as well. Now, Vax's daggers and Vex's arrows means that the twins are opposite each other, but you've also got Liam's 2 characters next to each other, so you've got Caleb and you've got Vax. And then coming up here, we're going to have all the rest of these like logos and various different things. We're going to have references to the Mighty Nine and to Vox Machina. We've got the sun and the moon, which is a reference to sort of Molly as well. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 9 eyes, and the last one is hidden round the back. You can see where I've started to draw things on. So Caduceus is going to be at the top here, so we're going to embroider lots of squiggles for Caduceus. This is going to be a mainly embroidered coat, but I'm also going to employ other techniques as well. So we've already got little bits of ribbon at the bottom down there. I'm going to include lots of tassels in the sort of twiddly bits down the sides, which is in between, in the gaps down here. Instead of having the coat just flapping free, I want to have like rainbow fabric in the middle with lots of different designs and patterns on it as well that I might print. Here is the latest Mollymauk. So this is based on the animated show, the animated Mighty Nine. So it's a lot more simple. I added some spice to it by making this bit all shimmery, because I had some shimmery fabric. This mannequin is far too small for these shoulders. So I did this with a heat transfer vinyl, because I just thought it was easier than trying to stitch more onto it, because the more you stitch onto this kind of fabric, which is very sort of silky, the more it can wreck it. So I just did it like this. So this is the back of it, going down into the ringmaster twirly twirly twirly, and I did the little tips at the bottom because I thought that just made it look nicer. So yeah, this is the brand new Molly, and here he is, the boy. Hello, boy. So this is Kingsley. This is the Kingsley I made in 3 days after the first half of the Critical Role Mighty Nine extra. I think it was after the Battle Royale, something happened. I can't remember what it was called, but the first half dropped, and we had the tiniest screenshot and the tiniest piece of Kingsley from the intro, and that was it. And we had to guess a lot of what the rest of his outfit looked like, and I was guessing and guessing and guessing, and I designed this, and within those 3 days we got more art that got released, and so I finally pieced it together, and I made this in time for the next show. So I made it in 3 days because I had to work the rest of the week. I got into the friggin' cosplay gallery for the following week when the second half of the show came out, and I got to meet Taliesin dressed like this. So I love Kingsley. I think he's incredible. I loved making this asymmetrical piratey jacket. It was beautiful. Once again, just like Molly. In fact, I have used, fun fact, the same fabric I used to make this, which is made out of curtains, is the same fabric I've used to make this. This is my current Mollymauk work in progress, and this is the same material as that. So him and Kingsley have that little connection. They're made of the same stuff. And this was sprayed. I remember spraying it with this darker red and being so scared to get the ombre right. I attached all of these by hand. It took so friggin' long. But look, I found gold buttons with king crowns on them for Kingsley. And I even made the inside look like a treasure map, because I thought that was kind of fun. So I love this Kingsley so very much. Haven't been in him in a while. Probably need to get back into Kingsley again. This is my current masterpiece. It's not perfect, not by any means, but this was a costume I have had on my list for so long, and I wanted to make my skills better. I wanted to have more money. So many things. So this is Edward Scissorhands from the Matthew Bourne New Adventures dance production. So it's Edward Scissorhands meets ballet and contemporary dance and all this beautiful, beautiful atmospheric character work. So it's not the Tim Burton one. It's based on the movie, but it's its own brand new thing. And the description from the costume designers and Matthew Bourne. So Les Brotherston, costume designer I admire so incredibly much. He is made to look like he was stitched together from the sofa upholstery fabrics and various bits of leather and things that his father, the inventor, had at the time. And at the beginning of the show, you see him being stitched together, and then eventually you see him appear. So there are black and grey bits, there's brown, there's fake leather that I had to hunt because I have no money. I went through so many charity shops hunting for fake leather coats and jackets, and eventually I found a pair of leggings, and they were huge. They were an XXXXXXXL. It was amazing, and I've cut them out and I used the fabric to make all these little bits and pieces. I've done massive stitching so it looks like he's been stitched together. I even did the nipples that they gave him. I've weathered it. I've used a lemon zester to make it look all weathered. I've done so many rivets. So many rivets. I actually got a rivet presser for this. I've done the muscles out of foam and then I've painted over them. It's getting a bit frayed and chipped now because it's been away for a little while. And then I've done all of this lacing up all the way down the legs. So there's actually a grey bodysuit that I made that goes underneath to protect, and so that every single time you've got like a seam and you've got the little like cutouts and bits like this, you can't see anything underneath, so it's all grey underneath. And then you've got all these patches that go down the sort of rib cage design. The ribs go sort of round the sides, and it goes down to the bottom half onto the legs, and it attaches onto there, and there's more weathering and more patches, and there's patches on the knees that I made, and there's all this different stuff, and there's stitching everywhere to make it look old and like he's been patched up over and over again, and I just love it. So this is one of my hands. Now, I based the scissor design off of what they have for the dance show, so the hand has got to be free underneath so they can push up off the floor, but there's also the scissors and they've got different colours so that they can all stand out and they can all move individually. It's also got this bracer which goes up the arm. Part of that is to protect the dancer's wrist and everything, and partly for the vibes. So for the actual ballet show, they've got real resources they can use to make these, whereas I was making them out of wood, sellotape that's made to look metallic, metally, and then I attached them via hope and a prayer and some sturdy glue. So yeah, this is my Edward Scissorhands hand. And because of this cosplay, I got invited to go up to Edinburgh to watch the show, and I got to go backstage and I got to put my hand in the actual glove and the actual gauntlet, and I got to twiddle the scissors around. So that was one of the most magical days of my life. This is another one of my more recent cosplays, and this one I was so excited to do. So again, it's Les Brotherston for Matthew Bourne and the New Adventures Company, and these are the Swan Lake legs. And I have wanted some of these since I first saw this production. So it is made of a old pair that I sort of edited and made of like very loose grey trousers, and then I added layers, and I mean layers. I spent forever ripping up strips of white calico and white cotton and white fabric, and I stitched them in rows, and they went round and round and round and round all the way to the top, and they got slightly bigger and fluffier as I ran out of fabric, and then I went back in and I added into all the gaps. This took hours. As with so many of my cosplays, there are full videos where I show you the process, so please go check that out if you want to see me going slowly mad with feathers. And then this top bit is some stretchy fabric which I've put some foam into underneath to make the shape, and this is some stretchy sort of skin coloured. I think it used to be a pair of tights actually. This little bit up here. So that goes in the middle, and then attached at the back with a zip, and then this is it. So it looks fairly simple, but the work these took was insane. And I am so very happy because Matthew Bourne's Swan Lake is incredibly important to me. I've done many video essays on this, and I am just so happy that I've got an Edward, I've got a Swan, and I've got a Count Lilac. So my Matthew Bourne, Les Brotherston tributes are coming thick and fast over the years, and this one is just, oh, so very special.
So we've got to the end. That was a walkthrough of the history of me and the costumes that I have made and the things that I have done. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of looking back and remembering and despairing over some of my seams, to be honest. But I'm so glad that I did it. Cosplay has been absolutely incredible. I haven't done as much of it in the last couple of years because I have sort of switched lanes a little bit. But because of cosplay, I have found all the other things that I love to do. Cosplay got me into writing through RP and fanfiction. I always loved to write things. I've always had stories and just worlds in my head, but I never really got them out until I was doing cosplay and I was writing for characters. I was doing commission videos as characters. I was doing roleplay in servers with people. I joined D&D games, and the whole world of it has just opened up to me a little bit. And that's the track that I've switched onto at the moment. I am still doing costuming stuff, I'm still making costumes, I'm still doing commissions, but I'm doing a lot less of it because I have changed the tracks just a little bit. I am focusing on my writing quite a lot. I've got 2 full novels I'm writing. I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna put it out there in the world and it's gonna hold myself accountable. I've got a Peter Pan sequel I'm writing, which I mostly talk about on the Peter Pan lore channel, and I'm doing an assassin story, which I started on this YouTube channel as a sort of improvised storytelling game, which turned into an actual story, and I'm doing a collection of demon or ghost stories about a bunch of characters that I've written, and those are going to be a little collection of short stories in one volume. I'm also doing some podcasts. I've got one that is fully scripted, fully cast, mostly, and I've got a bunch of the voice actors who've already done stuff. It just needs a bunch of editing and a few more characters cast. And I've got one that's much shorter and much quicker that is just finished now, and it needs some casting, and then we'll do some twiddly bits with that. So I'm very excited about all of this. I'm also doing some art and things as well, doing bits of painting, so all in all, cosplay has brought me a lot of stuff. I am so much more creative, and the biggest thing I would say it has taught me is I can do that. Just this general attitude of, I can make that. There are so many techniques that I've learned. There's so much I haven't learned yet as well. There's so many things I still want to learn, but just the process of learning, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's something I didn't enjoy in school, and for various reasons, but doing it outside of school and learning and being helped by people watching YouTube tutorials, going on courses, reading books, and just guessing a lot of the time, to be honest. I mean, as I said through this video, a bunch of these costumes, they were hand sewn because I didn't have a sewing machine yet, and I didn't even know how to use a sewing machine, so even if I had one, I wouldn't have been able to use it. And when I got one, it was a lot of guesswork and watching YouTube tutorials on like, well, what sewing machine have you got and how do you use it, that kind of thing. So I've loved it. It's been amazing. It's taught me so many skills. It's been incredible. I will keep costuming. I'm going to keep doing stuff. The 2 builds I'm doing this year is I'm doing a Jack Sparrow. I'm so excited. And I'm finishing my Final Form 4.0 Mollymauk in time for October Comic Con, where I'm going to go see Critical Role. I'm so excited. If you're going to be there, let me know in the comments and I will say hi because I love everybody and I want to say hi. Alright. I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching this video, and as I said, if you see any costumes with a little orange sticker on the screen that you would like to have or use for any reason, let me know and I'll try and get those to you. Alright, I love you all, do great things, pursue your hobbies and passions, etc, etc. I love you all, goodbye!